And early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones, like the attack on Soleimani,
he sounds like shit, dude.
On al-Baghdadi.
He's 40 minutes late and he sounds like shit. They had to jack him up on adrenochrome so he could speak.
The Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as...
He is really quiet. I have the volume normal right now.
All perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores.
He's like skimming the paper he's reading.
Now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. It's Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan...
Okay, obviously he's not in charge of his own admin. Yeah, for sure. This is 100% Rubio. If this was his doing, he would be much happier right now.
Respected country again, maybe like never before. These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea, just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. So they were in a ready, what's called a ready position. But they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it was an
I'm sure you'll tweet about it eventually, sir.
Not a single American service member
was
killed,
out.
And not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was, more importantly, killed. The United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far. With capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have, and you see that even if you just
he
look
has
at the
just
boats,
overwhelmingly powerful vocal tics, huh? He's always stimming with it.
Drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills 25, on average, 25,000 people. We knock
it's like
out
Northern Lion, man.
%. And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So I don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in. And
Yeah. Okay. No. Just
that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about.
Sir, you're not supposed to say that.
Liberty and justice for the great people of Venezuela, and that includes many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. We've had decades of that. We're not going to let that happen. We're there now, and what people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it essentially until such time as
he's the third time. Why do you keep saying that? Did they write it 3 times in the paper?
Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust, for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our
they weren't pumping nearly enough oil.
Companies, the biggest
that was the problem.
In the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure.
Oh my God!
Infrastructure.
Oh my God!
Making money for the country.
He's just there's no
ready
artifice.
To stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so.
Oh
so
my
we
God!
Were prepared to do a second wave if we needed to do so. We actually assumed that a second wave would be necessary, but now it's probably not.
It is the most transparent presidency in history.
Successful. We probably don't have to do a second, but we're prepared to do a second wave, a much bigger wave, actually. This was pinpoint, but we have a much bigger wave that probably won't have to do. This partnership of Venezuela with the United States of America, a country that everybody wants to be involved with because of what we were able to do and accomplish, will make the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe. And it will also make the many, many people from Venezuela that are living in the United States extremely happy. They suffered. They suffered. So much was taken from them. They're not going to suffer anymore. The illegitimate dictator Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States. As alleged in the indictment, he personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas, which flooded our nation with lethal poison responsible for the deaths of countless Americans.
Where do we go from here? I have no idea. I have no clue. I have no idea how you.
Years of Americans died because of him.
This is like unprecedented in the history of anything. Like there's no pretense being offered. There's no. He just flatly said they're not pumping enough oil. We're gonna go in there and make them pump more oil. We control the country now. We'll bomb them again if we need to. There's no. Like, Russia lied to provide a pretext for their invasion of Ukraine. This is like, there's no comparison to this. Israel said there were like Hamas tunnels everywhere. Like the regimes are supposed to lie. I don't know what you do when they don't lie. I don't know what.
Presented in a court of law. And I've seen it. I've seen what we have. It's both horrible and breathtaking that something like this could have been allowed to take place.
Yeah.
Many years after his term as president of Venezuela expired, Maduro remained in power and waged a ceaseless campaign of violence, terror, and subversion against the United States of America, threatening not only our people, but the stability of the entire region. And you all saw it. In addition to trafficking gigantic amounts of illegal drugs that inflicted untold suffering and human destruction all over the country, all over in particular the United States. Maduro sent savage and murderous gangs, including the bloodthirsty prison gang Tren de Aragua,
I've heard of these
terrorize
guys.
American communities nationwide, and he did indeed. They were in Colorado. They took over apartment complexes. They cut the fingers off people if they called police. They were brutal, but they're not so brutal now. And I just have to congratulate our military, Pete and everybody, and our National Guard, because the job that they've done, whether it's in Washington, D.C., where we have a totally safe city, where it was one of the most unsafe cities anywhere in the world, frankly, and now we have no crime in Washington, D.C.
Okay, are we transitioning into the part of the speech where it's all the same speech? Have we woven into the Trump, like the uni-Trump speech?
A threat, but we haven't had a killing in a long period of time, 6, 7 months. We used to have two, on average, 2 a week in Washington, our capital. We don't have that anymore. The restaurants are opening. Everyone's happy. They're going. They're walking their daughters. They're walking their children, their wives. They walk to restaurants. Restaurants are opening all over Washington, D.C. So I want to thank the National Guard. I want to thank our military. And I want to thank law enforcement. It's been amazing. And they should do it with more cities. We're doing it, as you know, and we're doing it in Memphis, Tennessee right now.
I'm sorry. There's too much to talk about here for me to bother listening to the same speech for the 50th time. This is completely unprecedented. I genuinely have no idea what to do or what to say about this. I have no idea. Well, he just fucking admitted it. They all just admitted it. Listen, I said this yesterday, so I'm going to say this again, okay? They might say this is for the oil. It's actually not. It is not profitable for U.S. oil companies to set up in Venezuela. They would make more money building new oil facilities off the American coast. The oil, the resources available here in the United States, in our own land, it's both easier to access and it's higher quality. Like, it's better to go after. It's more profitable. It is not financially justifiable at the current oil price, or even at a slightly higher oil price, to go and get Venezuelan oil. Like, this is about blood. I mean, this is about inertia. This is about, like, the Epstein demons. It's not really about oil, you know? The freaks in power are aware of the fact that they have the ability to do anything they want as long as Trump is in charge. They get together in their child rape clubs and they all brag to each other about how based and red-pilled it's going to be, you know? Finally, now we're uncucked. We can do anything on the world stage. Marco Rubio's had a massive chip in his shoulder about all of Latin America for his entire fucking life, you know? So has Donald Trump. There are so many people who have been gunning for the opportunity to do something like this. They all want to wave their dick around. It has nothing to do... It's not even a good business decision because it's not about business. It's personal. Like, the reason Trump is talking about oil so much is not because he personally is, like, orchestrating some big scheme for American financial dominance. He's not smart enough, okay? It's because he's talked to oil barons. Like, he's talked with them at Mar-a-Lago, and they've been like, yeah, wouldn't it be based if we got that oil in Venezuela? And because he's an idiot, he just says it out loud rather than pretending that it's about anything else. Trump was born a woman. That's true. We should transvestigate more Republican leaders.
Yeah, what was that?
Getting land, oil rights, whatever we had, they took it away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching. But they're not going to do that. We want it back. They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. As you know, they threw our companies out, and we want it back.
Spectacular. Still doing the Unispeech?
Now, when crime is down, left her dead under the bridge. There was a bridge.
Still doing the Unispeech.
A bridge that will never be the same to so many people after seeing what happened. As I've said many times, the Maduro regime emptied out their prisons, sent their worst and most violent monsters into the United States to steal American lives. And they came from mental institutions and insane asylums. They came from prisons and jails. The reason I say both, they sound similar. Actually, prisons, a little bit more hostile, a little bit tougher. A mental institution isn't as tough as an insane asylum. but we got them both. They sent from their mental institutions. They sent from their jails, prisons. They were drug dealers. They were drug kingpins. They sent everybody bad into the United States. But no longer. And we have now...
Okay. Rewind a bit. He called a 12-year-old beautiful. It's a Trump speech, you know? It's a Trump speech. Well, there's your problem, folks. Talked about this a while back. U.S. Gulf oil refineries are set to process that bad quality South American oil, so they make a huge profit on the refining rather than the extraction. Yeah, but like, it would be most profitable to just trade normally with Venezuela then. Like, there's nothing that forces us to place sanctions on them or to not engage with them regularly as an economic partner. That literally, like, sweetens the pot for everyone, you know? It's like Iraq, you know? The Iraq war was about a lot of things. Oil was one of them. We did set up, like, oil extraction in Iraq. Like, we did take control of it after the Iraq war. But what did it lead to? Massive profits? Like, not really? Not... Like the most of Iraq, like Iraq is still a shithole, and they dealt with ISIS for a fucking decade. The destabilization of the region destroyed, you know, enough potential future profit. It would have been the only point that I'm getting at is that I want to I reject any explanation of this that is not we are ruled over by pedophilic demons. Okay. I don't want anyone talking about this like it's some kind of fucking master plan, like it's this big like business stroke that's being orchestrated, this like investment project, you know. All the oligarchs have their hands together like Elon Musk. They're like, yes, this will increase my profit. You know, the wealthiest man in the world is Elon, and he's a fucking retard. Like, the Elon Musk is going to become a trillionaire entirely off of bad decision making. Every day he wakes up and says something that compromises the value of Tesla stock, and it just doesn't matter because the world's not fair and there aren't consequences for your actions once you're wealthy enough. Like, that's the world we live in. We don't live in a world where the U.S. oligarch class is like nefarious scheming mastermind. I just want everyone to be clear on this. It's because they're demons. It's not because they have a plan. If a plan happens, then it was just a happy coincidence. They were Bob Rossing that shit. Yes, I saw Trump tweeting a photo of Nicolas Maduro looking dripped up. You know, the Dr. Disrespect, get up, the Latin sweatsuit. Totally normal things, again, just posting ISIS kidnapped photos of foreign leaders from the president's personal Twitter account. Russian billionaire Oleg Deripaska warns that if the U.S. continues control over Venezuela's oil fields after already moving into Guyana, it could end up overseeing more than half the world's reserves. In his view, we already see more than half the world's reserves, okay? Most places can't process Venezuelan crude. We're allies with Saudi Arabia. You know, I don't think it's a grand long-term strategy. Also, you couldn't possibly hold oil prices near $50 a barrel, okay? It's going to be driven down whenever OPEC wants to drive it down, and then one day, folks, one day, something is going to happen, and oil prices are not going to be $50 a barrel anymore. That's a promise from me to you, okay? Saudi Arabia can keep that shit running low for as long as they want, but one of these days, it's going to go up. And for a little while, the oil companies are going to be happy, and then they're going to be very, very unhappy. We all will be. If Maduro's in New York, can Mamdani do anything about it? No. Also, he's not in New York right now. He's on the Iwo Jima. But you know, he'll be there eventually. Exclusive, the Trump admin is asking U.S. oil companies if they're interested in returning to Venezuela once Maduro is toppled. Per sources familiar with the discussion, so far the answer is a hard no. Yeah, that makes sense. Again, it's not profitable for them to even set up there. Not to mention how unstable the fucking region's going to be. Like, can you imagine setting up American extraction in Venezuela right now? A fucking narco state filled with cartels and people who hate your guts? Jesus Christ. Like, imagine if we tried to do that in Iraq, except rather than vaporizing the entire Iraqi government, we just kidnapped Saddam Hussein and left everyone else that he worked with in charge. And then we're like, okay, we're gonna set up oil fields now. Yes, sir. Please don't suicide bomb us. Please don't snipe our civilian contractors that we send over here to extract your resources for $250,000 a year.